Greetings, YouTube. You are staring at the Infinity Dust screen, and specifically, really what today's video is focusing on is the top whale item. I was one of the people who was so hyped at the beginning of the announcement about the 5-star Awakening Gem Crystal because we have not seen this available for free-to-play players, really ever. Unless you count beating content like Act 5. But when it comes to offers, not so much. I can't think of one unit-based offer that was there for a 5-star Awakening Gem, unless it was maybe one of those 15,000 unit-based offers, which, what percent of free-to-play players have 15,000 units saved up? So it's very easy to think that it is automatically a great idea to go in, save up your Infinity Dust, and just spend your 6.9 million Infinity Dust on it. But the point of this video, more than anything, is to talk about the fact that this may not be a good value for you. Because if you are someone that is concentrating, and I always talk about this in my video breakdowns, you just need 16 champions max, assuming you're in an alliance. You just have to worry about 16 champions. 5 on questing attack, 5 on alliance war defense, 3 on alliance quest attack, and 3 on alliance war attack. 16 champs. And if you have most of your 5-star champions that you want and that you're looking to rank 5 already awakened, you don't want to go for the 5-star Awakening Gem Crystal if you're most likely going to use it on a newer champion that you're not going to use in that rotation of 16 champs. So you have to ask yourself, based off of that strategy, and again, this video is mostly for people like me who are higher end players who've been playing the game for 2.5 years, 3 years, and have at least one rank 5 5-star. You have to ask yourself, how many different classes of champions are there going to be that can benefit in that group of 16 from the Awakening Gem? Because you are sacrificing almost all of your Infinity Dust if you're like most players who haven't been grinding every day, unless you've got 10 or 11 million. But let's just say you've got 7 million. That 7 million is actually enough to buy both of the 18,000 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments, which, as we know, double 18,000 gives you a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst, or 36 Tier 2 fragments. And on top of that, you can also get an additional 14,400 for the same price. So, if you are like me, only one Awakening Gem is going to matter to me at this point, and it's Mystic. Because I already have a tech for Stark Spidey, but I need a Mystic for Ghost Rider. Those are the only 2 5-star champions that are going to matter to me as far as Awakening. And I realize some of the top alliances can make those arguments for Alliance War defense, but personally I'm somebody that really isn't going to want to purchase an Awakening Gem just for the sake of a top Alliance War defense. So, if you're like me, and the question, which is how many classes of champions on your roster of that 16 that you use regularly need to be awakened and are 5-stars. If the answer is 2 or less, it's a bad idea to depend on a 33.3% RNG. And it's a much better idea because you know that you're going to need those Tier 2 Alpha Catalysts, which are still pretty darn rare, to rank up to rank 4 and or rank 5. And shoot, even in some cases 6 stars as well. You're going to want to spend that 7 million Infinity Dust on 50,400 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments. And so just keep that in mind. And if you still are really thirsty for that class-based 1 out of 6 RNG for an Awakening Gem, I am putting my faith in Kabam, which is a really scary thing to say because I have trust issues after how many bad offers they've given us, especially in the past month. Not to mention, of course, the server maintenance outages. But I am trusting that Kabam will at least give us the same deal they gave us to celebrate America's independence last year on July 4th, 2017, when they offered, if you were to go in here, and if you're newer to the game, you're not going to believe this, but they offered the All-Father Odin's Vault of 3,100 units plus a free, just thrown in for the heck of it, 5-star class base Awakening Gem. The same exact item that currently costs almost 7 million in Infinity Dust. So I personally, even if I had 7 million Infinity Dust, would not go for it. I would rather continue to gather as much T2 Alpha as possible to secure that the champs I already have awakened can get up to rank 4 or rank 5. That is a much better usage of resources than it is to get a second science or a second tech. A lot of you are telling me that you have like 3 science or 3 cosmic, which is just some all-time unlucky BS. I'm sorry to hear that. But the point of this video comes down to, don't automatically think just because you finally have the opportunity to get this 6.9 million Infinity Dust 5-star Awakening Gem that it's the best value in the store. And if you kind of like this video, I hope you do, I'm going to be doing a separate video later on in the week talking about, because I get a lot of messages from players who are kind of intermediate players who have around 4 million Infinity Dust stored up, and they want to know specifically what should they spend their 4 million on. So I'm going to kind of look at that number as the specific hard static number to talk about a breakdown, and then depending on what tier of player you fall into, whether you're a newer player, an intermediate player, or an advanced player, that will dictate how I think you should spend that 4 million Infinity Dust. So I hope this video finds you well. I hope that you learned something, and certainly I hope that you're enjoying the grind of the Infinity Dust. I haven't done many dungeons, which is why my Infinity Dust isn't higher. But with that being said, it's still pretty cool that I have almost 5 million and have done almost no dungeons. So kudos to Kabam for still giving plenty of opportunities through monthly quests and other resources like Vanquishing Blows to get Infinity Dust without having to rely solely on dungeons. Anyhow, thanks for watching, YouTube, and good luck in the game. If you do decide to whale out with that 7 million Infinity Dust, I hope you get the exact class that you are going for, because that, quite frankly, is what you deserve.